Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Boleyn's Lost Her Head, and today we're going to be doing another pre-season review, and today we are looking at Norwich City. So this week I'm going to be looking at all three relegated sides from the Premier League last season and just giving a quick analysis of how I feel they will all do in the Championship this coming season 2020-2021. So Norwich City obviously were relegated in rock bottom place from the Premier League last season, had a record breaking in a bad way run of defeats without scoring at the end of the season, and have come down with one of the worst points tallies that the Premier League has ever seen despite a promising start. And yet despite all that, I actually sit here feeling that Norwich are actually in the strongest position of the three relegated sides to make an immediate return to the Premier League. Now, the reasons for this might seem silly at first, but if you actually just listen a little bit closer, you'll actually realise there's quite a lot of reasoning behind why Norwich are one of the strongest placed sides in the Championship this season, in what was a very weak second tier in 2020-2021. Now, obviously, Norwich are the only one of the three relegated sides to keep their manager from relegation. Watford, of course, went through a plethora of managers last season. It seems amazing that this time last year, Javi Gracia was still the manager at Vicarage Road. But obviously, they have now got Vladimir Ivic in charge. Bournemouth have gone for Jason Tindall, the internal opponent, but Norwich have kept the man who got them up, who's overseen the relegation as well. But in Daniel Farke, they have a manager who has done it before in a much tougher division than it is going to be this time around. They've also got a better squad. They've recruited exceptionally well this season. They know that some of their players are big ticket items, like Ben Godfrey and Jamal Lewis and Max Simons, all at the back, despite that very poor defensive record that Norwich instilled last season. But they know those big ticket items mean that they can have a rebuild. You know, they've gone younger, they've gone even more for unknown names, unearthed some gems like they've done before, like Emi Buendia. They've still got Todd Cantwell at the club. They've still got Timu Puka. They've added to that with the goals of Jordan Hugo. They've added Kieran Dowell, who was one of the key players in Wigan's renaissance, which obviously ultimately was undone by matters off the pitch. Oliver Skip, on loan from Tottenham, future Tottenham captain, we've been talked about in some camps. They're keeping Tim Krul, one of the best keepers in the Championship. They've got so many facets of that promotion from 2 years ago still at the club, and yet they've added to it with more strength in depth. The likes of Bally Mumba from Sunderland as well, these great young players at other academies. Norwich have got such a clear plan in place, and there's not too many clubs that you can say that about in the Championship at the moment. So what do we mean when we talk about this clear plan that Norwich have got? You know, despite relegation last season, Norwich is still on course, in my eyes, to be achieving success. Last season was not a failure. To have achieved promotion to the Premier League was ahead of schedule anyway. Now, when Stuart Webber and Norwich City's board had hired Daniel Farke as manager 2 summers ago, if you'd have told him at the start of his third season he would be one of the overwhelming favourites for promotion to the Premier League at the start of this third season, then they would have said that was success. Not everything in football has to be measured on a season-by-season basis. It's good to have these long-term cycles. Brentford have it, and they are still achieving that success. That's why Thomas Frank's job was never in doubt, despite failing to achieve promotion in that playoff final match against Fulham back in July. So Norwich are well on course to be achieving promotion this season, and they're still achieving that success. Those long-term goals, what's so important. You know, Daniel Farke has been here before. Timu Puka's been here before. So many of those key players have been here before. It looks like Todd Cantwell's going to stay at this rate. So many of those key players from last time in the Championship are still going to be here. I put money on it. Jamal Lewis will still be here. Come the end of the transfer window. But if not, you know, they've got Sam McCallum, who they bought from Coventry and loaned back. They've got ready-made players in the molds. You know, Sam Byram's going to be a very good right back in the Championship. Should Max Simons depart. Obviously, he's got his number of suitors as well. And Ben Godfrey going for anything up to £40 million. £30 million probably more realistic. And Norwich are going to spend that money well. Remember, Emi Buendia costs just over £1 million. They unearth these stats, and they've already got them at the club. To get players like Kieran Dowell, a perennial loanee, and to have him in at the club on a permanent deal, it just shows where Norwich are at, and it shows how highly thought of they are by other clubs that's been able to be done, that deals like this are taking place at Carrow Road immediately after a rock bottom finish in the Premier League. So while I'm not comfortable making 1 to 24 predictions and actually saying this is where club's going to finish, because there's too much for that to happen, I have listed, and I'll put in the description the link to a video I've put Norwich, Swansea and Brentford to all go up this season. And I do have Norwich. I'm still sticking by it. Norwich will be a Premier League side again. They will get a record 5th promotion to the Premier League this season. So I'm not saying title winners, I'm not saying runners up, I'm not saying playoff winners. or where they're going to finish in the top 6. But I do believe that Norwich City will be a Premier League side again for 2021-2022. So that's my prediction for Norwich City, the first of the 3 relegated sides that we're going to be looking at this week. Norwich City's go. Get in the comments down below. Tell me, will Norwich go back up? Tell me, am I crazy for thinking they can get a record chasing 5th promotion in a row? Were the club right to keep Daniel Farke? Or should they have gone for a change after relegation? Are Norwich succeeding? Anything else you want to know? Anything else you agree with, disagree with? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.